I'm Brendan with WaterFurnace-Michiana, and on behalf of our company, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use your thermostat, as well as just some general tips on how to maintain your system. So here on the left-hand side of our stat, we have the actual room temperature, and below that, actual humidity. And over here, we have our set point, and we're in the heating mode. On the left-hand side here, it says rel-hum, that's relative humidity. If you have a humidifier, you could adjust that from this setting. Now to adjust our temperature, we simply hit the up or down arrow, and that will take us to our set point screen. From there, you can adjust it to whatever you'd like. And always make sure you hit this center button, which is like your enter or save button. And now you can see our new set point is 73. To adjust between heating and cooling, you're gonna go over to mode, enter, and here we have off, auto cool heat, and emergency heat. The auto setting is you set a high point and a low point. If it gets above the high point, then your AC kicks on, and if it drops below the low point, then your heat kicks on. Emergency heat is that electric strip heat. It's basically like a toaster that's sitting on top of your unit, and it's there for either emergency backup if the geo side goes down, or as a supplement to the geo. Now, if you're running purely on emergency heat, your screen is gonna light up in red like this. We'll go back. Now one over to fan settings. We have auto, continuous, and intermittent. We always default to setting it to auto, which is where the blower is gonna turn on if your system is calling for heating or cooling. However, if you have hot and cold pockets throughout your house, say you have a fireplace, and you want to just keep that air stirred up, you can run it on continuous, which will run the blower at a really low RPM until it's calling for heating or cooling. And that'll just keep that air stirred up and probably more equalized. And then intermittent fan is just kind of halfway in between. You can set it to run intervals on the hour. So now in the upper right-hand corner here, you can see it says STG1, which is stage 1, Stage 2, or auxiliary heat is what will be displayed there. Now with geos, we recommend that you just maintain a steady temperature. That's the optimal set point for geo. However, if you like to adjust your temperatures up and down, we recommend that you do that only 1 degree at a time. And the reason for that is because if you adjust it 2 degrees or more, it's gonna ramp the system up into stage 2, the compressor, the blower, and it may draw in some of that auxiliary heat as a supplement to the geo. And that's pretty much it for this thermostat. All right, so if you have the touchscreen thermostat, either because you have a zone system or you just opted for the upgrade, it's gonna look like this. To adjust your temperature, you simply hit the up or down arrow. Over here, we have our actual room temperature. And then to pan between your zones, you're gonna tap in the upper right-hand corner here where it says zone 1, and that will take us to zone 2. And again, you have your fan settings down here. Mode is where you go between your heating, cooling, auto, and emergency heat. So very similar options here, just slightly different layout. So now I just want to walk you through some of the general maintenance tips to make sure your system is running optimally. The main thing you're going to want to focus on is making sure that you have a clean filter. So in order to access our filter, we're going to come over here to this panel. It has little tabs on the top and the bottom. We're just going to pop this whole thing off, and we have our lifetime electrostatic filter behind there. You can see on the edge here we have little arrows indicating airflow. So our air is coming from our house into our system this way. So all of your dust particles are getting trapped on this side of your filter. Now we're gonna wash this filter. We recommend you do that with a pressure washer or a hose with a high pressure nozzle. And you're gonna wash from this direction so you're knocking that dust off and not driving it deeper into the grain of your filter. And you can go ahead and put this back in wet. It's not gonna hurt anything. One tip is you're gonna wanna shut your blower off, or it's gonna be really tricky to slide this thing back inside of here. And you can turn that fan off either by shutting your breakers off at your main panel or by turning the fan off at your thermostat. And then to put the panel back on, simply line it back up and then give it a little tap and it'll snap into place. So my other maintenance tip for you is make sure that your condensate drain is clear. And the way that we're gonna do that is by accessing this panel here. Now, before we get inside the cabinet, we wanna make sure that all of our power is shut off to the unit. And you're gonna do that probably either from a disconnect or from your main panel. You'll have two breakers. Flip both of those off as we have two power sources coming in. Once those are off, we're gonna remove the screw here. It's a 5/16. And then to remove the panel, we're gonna shift up, out, and down. That panel comes off. So over here we have our coil, and when we're running air conditioning, this condenses and the condensation goes into this tray here, down into a trap, and then out our PVC condensate drain line here. As water sits in that trap over time, it can kind of gum up and eventually maybe create a clog. So in order to prevent that, you can either put some chlorine tablets in this tray, or when you're done with the air conditioning season, go ahead and just dump a cup of Clorox bleach in that, and it'll go down and sit into that trap and just eat away any of that debris that may collect over time. So that's pretty much it for the maintenance. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And again, we just thank you so much for choosing WaterFurnace-Michiana, and we hope that this system is a blessing for you and your household for many, many years to come.